of this Brahman effulgence. This knowledge can be gained from such scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam, which perfectly elaborates the science of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the author Srila Vyasadeva has established that one will describe the supreme truth as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan according to one's realization of him. Srila Vyasadeva never states that the supreme truth is a jiva, an ordinary living entity. The living entity should never be considered the all-powerful supreme truth. If he were the supreme, he would not need to pray to the Lord to remove his dazzling cover so that the living entity could see his real face. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhupada's making a very important point here, a very good argument. That if the Brahman is the supreme, then why is the jiva, why is the living entity praying to the Lord to remove the effulgence? If we are the supreme, then we don't need to pray to the Lord. We can do it ourselves. And so Prabhupada is saying, if he were the supreme, we wouldn't need to pray. The fact that we are praying to the Lord indicates that we're not the supreme. And so this is a good argument to those people who say the Brahman is the supreme. We'll go ahead. Maharaji, another Maharaji, please read.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
The conclusion is that one who has no knowledge of the potencies of the supreme truth will realize the impersonal Brahman. Similarly, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord but has little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma realization. Thus, both Brahman and Paramatma realization of the absolute truth are partial realizations. However, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in full potency after the removal of the Hiranmaya Patra, one realizes Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Lord Sri Krishna, who is known as Vasudeva, is everything. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, the root, and Brahman and Paramatma are his branches. Hare Bol.
Yes, so three realizations of the absolute truth. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And they're all Krishna. No difference. Right?
Yes, Maharaj.
So Prabhupada quotes 719 from Bhagavad-Gita. Do you remember that verse?
Not really, Maharaj.
No?
I just...
So, Bahunam Gyanmanamanti Gyanapamam
Yeah.
Prapadyante. Yes? Vasudev Sarvamiti. Then Samahatma Sadurlabha.
Yeah.
You know the meaning?
No, Maharaj.
No, you wouldn't know. What point is, anyway, Prabhupada's making a point here in the verse 719. Lord Krishna, he says, Vasudev Sarvamiti. One realizes Vasudev Sarvamiti. What's the meaning, Vasudev Sarvamiti?
Vasudev is the, like, he's the supreme.
Yes.
Like, he's the Lord.
Huh?
He's absolute truth.
So Vasudev Sarvamiti means Krishna Vasudev is everything.
Yeah, yeah.
One realizes Vasudev Sarvamiti, not Krishna Vasudev. So Vasudev, as Prabhupada said, he is Brahman, he is Paramatma, he is Bhagavan. They're different features of the Lord, right? Can you give an example? Can you give an example to describe the relationship between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan?
Maharaj, the sun, the sunlight, and the sun rays.
Okay. The sun rays are what?
So, the sun is Brahman, and sunlight is Paramatma, and Bhagavan is sunlight.
The sun rays are what? The sun rays will be the Brahman.
The sun rays is the Brahman, yeah. And the sunlight is Paramatma, and Bhagavan is the sun. Something I'm just confused in that.
Okay. And the sun rays are the Brahman, and then the sun planet, and within the sun planet, there's a sun god.
Sun God. Yeah, yeah.
The sun god is Bhagavan, right?
Yeah, the sun disk is Paramatma. Yes, Maharaj?
The sun disk we can say is Paramatma, yes. I mean, it's not exactly Paramatma, but we're giving an example. Different phases of realizing the sun. We see the sun rays, we see the sun planet, and within the sun planet, there's a sun god.
Sun
So
God,
in
yeah.
the same way, we realize God, we realize Krishna in different phases. Some people know God by the Brahman,
Yes.
the all-pervading Brahman, the light, the energy, right? And some people know God by Paramatma. They
Paramatma,
see
yeah.
his all-pervading potency within everything. And other people, devotees, they will know God as
Bhagwan,
Bhagavan,
Sun God, yeah.
person.
Maharaj, here I have got a analytical point of view in another way also there.
Yes?
Can I share?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving me opportunity. Maharaj, here is like that. Like in a room, there is a suppose someone is sitting there and said, "Could you please go outside and see that?" So first person went, and he said, "Yes, I gone outside, and I saw that is a huge daylight. Everything is so bright." So second person went. Second person, he says, "I saw that there is a very big round which is very powerful lights coming from there and is circled." It's okay. Second person also right. So third person went, who is a Tattvagyani, means who has a full knowledge about Param Brahma. He went outside and he said, "This is not only light, not only the rounding very Yulish or here the sun. There is a sun god is sitting middle of that." So all three people are right, but three people realization or three people explanation is three different way. So this is like sunlight, sun, and sun god. So this is how this three manifestation of sunlight we can from sun we can see it or we can realize it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Very well.
And Prabhupada in his purport here, he's describing, he said, Brahman, you know, we said that's realization of the knowledge of the potencies of the Lord. That's impersonal. We'll realize the impersonal Brahman. If one who has no knowledge of the potencies will realize the impersonal Brahman. So what does he have knowledge of? He doesn't know about the potencies of the Lord. He only knows Brahman. He simply knows the oneness, the Brahman. So he has very little understanding about the Lord. But then Prabhupada said, when one realizes the material potencies of the Lord, but little or no information of the spiritual potencies, he attains Paramatma. Interesting. I don't know where Prabhupada's quoting from, where he gets it. Anyway, different realizations. Both Brahman and Paramatma, different realizations, partial realizations. Not complete. Partial realization. Okay, we'll go ahead. Maharaji can read.
I can.
Yes, please read.
In the Bhagavad-Gita 6.4647, there is a comparative analysis of the three types of transcendentalists: the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, Gyanis, the worshippers of the Paramatma feature, Yogis, and the devotees of Lord Shri Krishna, Bhaktas. It is stated that there are Gyanis who have cultivated Vedic knowledge, are better than ordinary fruitive workers, that the Yogis are still greater than the Gyanis, and that among all yogis, those who constantly serve the Lord with all their energies are the topmost. In summary, a philosopher is better than a laboring man A mystic is superior to a philosopher, and of all the mystic yogis, he who follows Bhakti Yoga, constantly engaging in the service of the Lord, is the highest. Sri Isopanisad directs us towards this perfection.
Okay. So Prabhupada is describing to us what is stated in the 6th chapter here of Bhagavad-Gita. 3 different types of transcendentalists, right? The Jnani, the Yogi, and who else?
Bhakta.
Bhakta, right. And so 3 types of yoga are mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita: Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And so in the 6th chapter, Krishna's describing the culmination of his yoga ladder. At the bottom of the yoga ladder, who's at the bottom?
The Gyanis.
No. At the bottom of the ladder? Who?
Karmis Maharaj.
The karmis, right. What Prabhupada doesn't use the word karmi, what does Prabhupada call them?
Laboring man.
Yes, the laborer, right. Or the fruitive worker, right? And then above them, who's above that?
The yogis.
No, I don't think so.
Jnanis.
Prabhupada said the Jnanis also are better. Jnanis are better than the fruitive worker, right? So the Jnanis are above the fruitive workers. The Jnanis. Sometimes even before the Jnanis, we will say also the Karma Yogis. If you study the Bhagavad-Gita, when you studied the Bhagavad-Gita, probably they presented like that after the ordinary fruitive worker, he's not a yogi. He's just a karmi, just a mudha. But above that, you've got karma yoga, and karma yoga, above that, then you'd have jnana yoga. And then above that, you have the yogis. But here, they're just giving the fruitive worker, and then the yogi, the jnani, and then the yogi. And then above the yogi is who?
Bhaktas.
Yes, the bhaktas, right. They'll use all their energies for the service of the Lord. So that's right. So at the bottom you've got the laboring man, and then the philosopher, and then the mystic, and then the yogi, the bhakti yogi. Above the mystic is the bhakti yogi. So that's a yoga ladder. Okay, so let's go on to mantra 16. Mantra 16. Well, let's have a Prabhu chant the Sanskrit for us. One of the gentlemen, please, who would like to chant.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhu.
Ushanikashe Yamasurya Prajapatya
Surya Prajapatya
Vyuha Rashmin Samuha Tejo
Viharasmin Mohadejo
Yatte Rupam Kalyanatamam Tatte Pashyami
Rupam Kalyanathamam Tate Pashyami
Yosau Asau Purusha Sohamasmi
Yosau Asau Swaham
Yes, very good. Go ahead, read the translation.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the of mankind, please remove the affligens of your transcendental race so that I can see your form of bliss. You, eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun as am I.
Yes. So this is another prayer. Another prayer, the same prayer, same request. Remove the effulgence. I will be want to see your form of bliss. So this is, you can see from in the beginning of the Isopanisad, it was more impersonal. But as we come to the end of this Upanishad, it's becoming very personal. We want to see the Lord personal, very personal features. Okay, Prabhu, please go ahead, read the purport, begin reading for us.
Yes. Hare Krishna Maharaj. The sun and its rays are one and the same qualitatively. Similarly, the Lord and the living entities are one and the same in quality. The sun is one, but the molecules of the sun rays are innumerable. The sun rays constitute part of the sun, and the sun and its rays conjointly constitute the complete sun. Within the sun itself resides the sun god, and similarly, within the supreme spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan, from which the Brahma Jyoti effulgence is emanating, the Lord enjoys his eternal pastimes as verified in the Brahma Samhita 5.29. Chintamani Prakarasadma Sukalpa Vraksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhi Rabipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Tata Samrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Oh, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, fulfilling the desires in abodes, filled with spiritual gems and surrounding by millions of wish-filling trees. He is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or goddess of fortune. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're hearing more description about the Lord and the living entity, the relationship between the Lord and the living entities. We had discussed this earlier when we spoke about Ekatvam Anupashata, the oneness.
Yes, Maharaj.
So Prabhupada gives the example, the sun and its rays, one and the same in quality. And so similarly, the Lord and the living entities, the same in quality. The molecule, the sun is one, but molecules of the sun rays are many, innumerable. In the same way, the Lord and the living entities. One Lord, Ekala Ishwara Krishna or Sabhritya. The Lord is the supreme and we're all his servants. So the sun's rays constitute part of the sun. And the sun, yeah, it couldn't be the sun without rays. In the same way, the Lord wouldn't have any purpose without having a creation, without having his parts and parcels. It said the Lord is originally one, but he became many for his own enjoyment. Just like in a family, husband and wife, they like to have a child. What? Because it's more pleasure, more enjoyment there when you have the child. Without the child, then the home is not quite the same. And so the same way the Lord and his parts and parcels, the living entities. So within the sun resides the sun God. Similarly, within the spiritual planet Goloka, we have the Lord's residence, just described for us, right? The residence of the Lord.
Yes, Maharaj.
You were telling us, right? What's the special features of the Lord's residence there in Goloka?
The Brahma Jyoti is emanating from the Lord's body. And it is a Chintamani Dham, actually referring to Brahma Samhita, then it is Chintamani.
Yes. What's Chintamani?
It is like the touchstone.
Where is that touchstone?
The Lord Krishna himself.
Lord Krishna is a touchstone? I want you to tell me what is this Goloka Dham?
Sachidananda, it is the. Sorry, Maharaj, I missed your word.
I just wanted you to describe Goloka for us. I wanted to hear.
Okay. Well, Lord is reciting permanently with all his well-wishers, with a lot of cows and fulfilling the wish-fulfilling trees and lot of spiritual gems, and everybody serving them with great reverence, and thousands of enemies serving them, goddess of fortunes.
Right. Yeah, his residence is made with Chintamani, right? His abode is made with Chintamani, and the dust of the Dham is also Chintamani. And the trees are Kalpa Briksha trees. They can fulfill all the desires. But the people of the Goloka, the people of the Dham are so special, they only desire fruit and flowers for the service of the Lord. They don't desire anything material for their sense gratification. They could, but they only want flowers and fruits to offer to the Lord. So there's Kalpa Briksha trees and Kamadhenu cows, right?
Yes.
Not just ordinary cows, but Kamadhenu cows. They can give everything. Whatever they, but the devotees are so pure, they just want milk to cook make milk products and milk sweets to offer to Krishna. So that's the nature of Chintam, of the Goloka Dham. And of course, as you said, from his body comes that Brahma Jyoti. Okay, we'll go ahead. Prabhu could read.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The Brahma Jyotir is described in the Brahma Samhita as a rays emanating from the supreme spiritual planet Goloka Vrindavan. Just as the sun's rays emanates from the sun globe, until one surpasses the glare of the Brahma Jyotir, one cannot receive information of the land of the Lord. The impersonalist philosophers, blinded as they are by the dazzling Brahma Jyotir, can realize neither the factual abode of the Lord nor his transcendental form. Limited by their poor fund of knowledge, such impersonalist thinkers cannot understand the all blissful transcendental form of the Krishna. In this prayer, therefore, Sri Isopanisad petitions the Lord to remove the effulgent rays of Brahma Jyoti so that the pure devotee can see his all blissful transcendental form.
Yes. So, you see the situation, the impersonalist philosophers, they become very attracted by this light. You see, they're thinking, because they read, we heard in the previous mantra, they read the Mundaka Upanishad, and they heard about the Brahma Jyoti, and the light is everywhere. So they come into the light, and they think, this is it. We're here, this is it, this is the goal. And they get stuck there in the Brahma Jyoti. They're thinking this is the ultimate goal. But they don't understand the light has to come from somewhere. Light has a source. So we have to understand the source of that Brahman. Where does it come from? They're thinking Brahman. They're just thinking Brahman is the cause of everything. Everything comes from the Brahman. Shankaracharya preached Sarvam Kauvidam Brahma. He gave great importance to that statement from the scriptures, from the Vedas, that everything is Brahman. They didn't know about Krishna, right? And Krishna is described in the Bhagavad-Gita. How is Krishna described in the Bhagavad-Gita? Is Krishna also Brahman? Haribo?
Brahman is part, like it is one of the realization, one of the stage of realization of Krishna.
Yeah.
Effulgence, it's part of Krishna, like it's the initial stage of realization, which is the part of first stage of realization. We can call it as a part of Krishna.
Okay. So is Bhagavan also Brahman?
No, Bhagwan is the complete whole, the ultimate, the end realization, the last realization.
How does Arjuna describe him in Bhagavad-Gita?
Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Paramam.
Yes, Param Brahma, right? The Param Brahman, the Para Brahman. That's the Supreme Brahman, right? There's a difference. We're tiny Brahman. We're Brahman, but we're very small Brahman. But Krishna is a Para Brahman. All right, the spark, we're just little sparks of the Brahman. We can easily be extinguished. Prabhupada gives the example about the fire and the sparks. The spark coming out of the fire can be extinguished. Krishna is the Para-Brahman. He's like the big fire. It's not going to be extinguished. But the sparks, they can fall in the water. They may fall on dry grass. That's better. But if they fall in the water, they'll be extinguished. It's all the same way. The living entity in contact with the material energy, they can lose their Krishna, they can lose their spiritual consciousness. So the Gyanis, they are attracted by this Brahman, the light, but they don't know, they cannot understand about the Lord, that this Brahman is just simply his effulgence. Can realize neither the Brahma Jyoti nor realize the abode of the Lord, right? They're not able to go into the kingdom of the Lord. They enter into the spiritual sky, into the Brahma Jyoti, but they're not able to enter into the kingdom, into the Vaikuntha, into Goloka. They can't get into these planets. Why not? Why don't they get in there? What stops them?
The ego actually, which has to end completely, then only they will be able to, the false ego which has to completely get over, then only they'll be able to enter.
What's the qualification to actually enter in there?
Devotional service, Maharaj.
Yes,
Bhakti.
right. Devotional service, bhakti. We have to have bhakti, devotion. Without devotion, we will not get into the kingdom of God. The Gyanis, they may get into the Brahma Jyoti, but they're not going to get into the Vaikuntha planets or into Goloka, because they don't have bhakti. They have a little bhakti, but they don't have enough. They're not pure bhaktas. They're Jnana Mishra bhaktas, or the Bhakta Mishra Gyanis. They've got a little bit of bhakti there, because you have to have a little bit of bhakti. And whatever you do, you have to have some bhakti. But they're not really bhaktas, they're not devotees. So they don't get into the abode of the Lord. They don't get to see the form of the Lord. So Prabhupada says, limited by their poor fund of knowledge. right? The impersonalists, they're Abhishuddha Buddhaya. They have their mind, their knowledge is not perfect because they're thinking, they're just simply thinking Brahman. They don't think of anything high. They don't understand that the Lord has energies. They're simply thinking only oneness, without variety. They don't understand this, that the Lord can have varieties of energies. They cannot understand the all blissful nature of the Lord's form. They're thinking, oh, don't be emotional. If you dance in the kirtan, this is emotion. Everything should be just peaceful. So this prayer, we're asking the pure devotees, Prabhupada mentioned, pure devotees can see the all blissful transcendental form. But the jnanis, they're not able to see that. They're not pure. They haven't purified themselves. They've got some desire there to become one. They've got this desire to merge and to become one with the Supreme. Sayujya Mukti. Sayujya Mukti, merging, will never be taken by the devotee because there's no opportunity to do devotional service. So we have to guard against that. You see, the Jnanis, for them, they're thinking, the Jnanis thinking liberation is the goal. But devotees not thinking like that. Devotees not anxious for liberation. The Jnanis, they're anxious to get liberation. That's the imperfection of their knowledge. They're thinking, just get out, material world. And what are they going to do when they get out of the material world? What do you think a Jnani will do? Any ideas? Yes? What's a Jnani thinking? What's his consciousness when he gets out of the material world?
Marriage merging with the Lord, effulgence.
I'm sorry, Manaji, your voice is not clear. Breaking. Could you say again?
Marriage merging in the Brahma Jyoti, in the Lord's effulgence.
Right, he's merging. So he's thinking, Aham Brahmasmi. Meaning what? Aham Brahmasmi. What does it mean?
I belong to Lord Brahman.
I am Brahman. It means I am
Brahman,
Brahman, right? I'm not the body. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. So that's their realization. That is as far as their realization goes. I am Brahman. But they don't know what is the function of Brahman. What are you supposed to do as Brahman? They don't know. They don't know what activity somebody is supposed to do if they know they're Brahman. So generally they stop everything. Don't act. Don't do anything. Just do nothing. Right? This is their mood. Oneness, just nothing. Do nothing, just sit. So this is their realization that I'm not the body, I'm Brahman, so I don't do anything. Stop everything. They think all activities are material. They do not understand there can be spiritual activity, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Do you know what spiritual activities are? What would be, what would be spiritual activities?
Like all the activities which we do for the pleasure of the Lord.
Yeah, what do you do for him?
Giving aarti every day, dressing him, and then offering tasty food, bhoga, then abhishekam.
Yeah, you people like to do puja, huh? You do a lot of puja.
Navada Bhakti Maharaj.
Huh?
Navada Bhakti.
Yes, Maharaj. Hearing, chanting Lord's name.
Yes, right. Hearing, chanting, right. Kirtan, right.
Haribol. Yes, Maharaj.
Hearing and talking about the Lord's pastimes, discussing, like now is Damodar, so we're discussing about Damodar Lila, talking about all this. So the Lord, He likes to hear this. He likes to hear about all of His activities. Great pleasure. The Lord not only eats, you know, we like to cook for the, but He doesn't only eat. He likes to also hear, and He likes to also see the kirtan. He sees the devotees chanting. So this is spiritual activities, but the Gyanis, they can't understand that. You go to the Gyanis, they're just going to sit and talk, and you sit and listen, and then meditation, and don't talk, like this. They don't know what is spiritual activity. So they don't realize the full nature of the Lord. Right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead. Someone would like to read?
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. By realizing the impersonal Brahma Jyotir, one experiences the auspicious aspect of the Supreme, and by realizing the Paramatma, or all-pervading feature of the Supreme, one experiences an even more auspicious enlightenment. But by meeting the personality of Godhead Himself face to face, the devotee experiences the most auspicious feature of the Supreme. Since he is addressed as the primeval philosopher and maintainer and well-wisher of the universe, the supreme truth cannot be impersonal. This is the verdict of Sri Isopanisad. The word Pusan, maintainer, is especially significant, for although the Lord maintains all beings, He specifically maintains His devotees. After surpassing the impersonal Brahma Jyotir and seeing the personal aspect of the Lord and His most auspicious eternal form, the devotee realizes the absolute truth in full. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. And so Prabhupada is describing the progression here, you see. After surpassing the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, get through the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, and then you come to the personal feature. Of course, we don't have to realize the impersonal feature first and then go home. No, we don't worry about that. We just immediately give our attention to the personal feature. And if we know the personal feature of the Lord, then we will also get realization about the other aspects of the Lord. It's all included. So Prabhupada explains, meeting the personality of God at face to face and personally seeing the Lord. Of course, we see the Lord in different ways. When you go to the spiritual world, you can see Him there personally. But when we go to temple, we see the Lord there also in His Archamurti form. And the deity, He is also manifest there. We can see the Lord face to face, and we can see Him in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. When you read Srimad Bhagavatam, one day you'll see the Lord there face to face. And we know the Lord's holy name is not different from the Lord. So all of these different things, they are different manifestations of the Lord. So the Lord is very concerned for His devotees. He likes to maintain all of His devotees, to take care of them. So it's described here, He's a maintainer and well-wisher. So He's not just simply some energy, but He's very personal. And this is seen very clearly when the devotee goes back to Godhead. described how the Lord is so personal with the devotees, how he cares for them. So the Lord is the maintainer of his devotees. He maintains them spiritually and materially. In Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, Yogakshema vahamyaham. I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. This is maintainer. So the Lord maintains all beings, provides for everyone. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvishosti napriya. Said, I envy no one. I'm equal to everyone. But whoever is my devotee, he is a friend. He is in me and I am in him. So Krishna has a very special relationship with his devotees. And Prabhupada said it's natural. He said, just like a mother, just like a woman, they like children. They'll love all children, but they have a special love and affection for their own child. So that is natural. In the same way, the Lord is concerned for maintaining all beings, but he has a special interest in his devotees. And he wants to help them all to come back to him. So we get through the Brahmajyoti, and then we come to the personal aspect, his most auspicious eternal form. So this is the ultimate realization of the Lord. The Lord, the devotee wants to know about the Lord and his personal features. So we get information about all of this also in the scriptures. So we're not satisfied just to see some impersonal energy or all-pervading feature. Okay, we'll go ahead. Prabhu can read.
I continue, Prabhu? Maharaj?
Yes, please. Yes.
Hare Krishna. In his Bhagavad Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami states, the complete conception of the absolute truth is realized in the personality of Godhead because he is almighty and possesses full transcendental potencies. The full potency of absolute truth is not realized in Brahma Jyotir. Therefore, Brahman realization is only partial realization of personality of Godhead. O learned sages, the first syllable of the word Bhagavan, Bha, has two meanings. The first is one who fully maintains, and the second is a guardian. The second syllable Ga means guide, leader or creator. The syllable Van indicates that every being lives in him and that he also lives in every being. In other words, the transcendental sound Bhagavan represents infinite knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength, and influence, all without a tinge of material inebriety. Hare Krishna.
Inebriety, yes. Without a tinge of material inebriety. In other words, it's all perfect. No faults. Nothing wrong with any of it. It's all perfect. So Prabhupada is quoting Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami, of course, wrote these Sandarbhas, which help to summarize or give us all the truths from the Bhagavad based on the Bhagavad philosophy. So Bhagavad Sandarbha, he says, we have to realize the absolute truth. The full conception of the absolute truth is in the personality of Godhead, because he is almighty, possesses transcendental potencies. The full potency is not, then he goes on to explain, the full potency is not in the Brahman and the Brahmajyoti. That's only partial. Remember the very beginning, I think it was mantra 1, it was described that realization of the Brahman is realization of which potency?
Realization of Brahman is a Sat potency.
Right,
Out of
Sat.
Satchitanand.
And realization of Paramatma was what?
Is a chit potency.
That's Sat and Chit, right? And then Bhagavan is full realization,
Fully
right?
Anand, Satchidanand, all three
Right.
potencies.
So the Brahman realization is simply realization of what?
Satchidanand, the absolute personality of Godhead.
Brahman. What do you realize if you're Brahman realize? What have you understood?
Brahman realization like understanding the light. If we could take the sun example.
Yes. So how does it apply to us? You know, if somebody is Brahman realized, what does it mean?
Then we realize that we are not this material body but a soul.
Right. We
And we
realize
belong
that
to
we're not the body, right? We've realized we're not the body, right? We realize that far. So there's some relief there. The relief is no pain, no suffering. But there's no real pleasure. Just simply realizing that we're not the body. That means we don't suffer any of the miseries of the body. But there's no real pleasure, there's no real happiness, there's no bliss. You don't get any bliss in the Brahman. There's no suffering there, though. That's the point. So this realization of the Brahman, I'm not the body, but they have no knowledge what to do when you come to that. I'm not. They just simply repeat, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. I am spirit, but they don't know what is the function of Brahman. What are you supposed to do? What is spiritual activities? And there has to be some activity. They think all activities are material. They don't understand that there are spiritual activities. So they get only partial realization. So then he goes on to describe another definition of the word Bhagavan. Now, usually we understand the word Bhagavan simply Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulence, and Van, one who possesses. One who possesses opulences. And then Parashara Muni, father of Vyasadeva, he described the 6 opulences of Bhagavan. Wealth, beauty, fame, knowledge. Do you remember? 6 opulences. What are the 6 opulences of Bhagavan?
that is knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength, and influence.
No. The Parasara Muni, he given another definition. Parasara Muni's definition.
No, Maharaj, sorry.
Wealth, beauty, fame, knowledge, strength, and renunciation. These 6 things. Generally, that's how we hear the definition of Bhagavan. In other places, in Prabhupada's books, it's described like that. But here, he's quoting Jiva Goswami, and Jiva Goswami is given a different definition of Bhagavan. Right? He says, first of all, Bha, 2 meanings. Fully maintains, one who can fully maintain, and the second is
Guardian.
So, very, very nice, that we can feel somebody is maintaining us and also protecting us. He's not only maintaining us, but he's our guardian, looking after us, going to protect us. And then second syllable ga, meaning guide, leader, or creator. We like to have a leader. We want a leader. We like, it feels very nice to know somebody's leading us, guiding us. So this is the Lord. And then finally, Van, that every living being lives in him, and that he also lives in every being. That's very nice. Just like there's a nice song by Narottam Das Thakur. He also sings like that. He says, The Vaishnavas are in my heart, and I am in the hearts of my devotees. Like that. The Lord says, I am in the hearts of my devotees, and my devotees are in my heart. So like the same point is made here. The Lord is in the hearts of the devotees as the Paramatma. He personally appears in his devotees who've surrendered, taken shelter of him. And the devotees, they're in the Lord's heart. So in other words, the sound Bhagavan represents, and then list all of these different opulent, these different things. Knowledge, infinite knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength, influence. So this is definition of Bhagavan. We want to understand that the Lord in these ways, you know, the Brahman has nothing like that. You understand the Lord simply as Brahman. There's nothing. There's just a oneness. There's no question of anything, anybody maintaining or potencies or energies. No, nothing like that. It's all just, there's just simply the impersonal oneness. So that is their conception of the Brahman. You can see how it's very limited, what they think is the Lord, what they think is the Supreme, how they describe the spiritual existence. There's very little understanding. We'll go ahead. Maharaji, please read. Some Maharaji can read for us. Didn't read yet?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
The Lord fully maintains his unalloyed devotees and he guides them progressively on the path towards devotional perfection. As the leader of his devotees, he ultimately awards the desired results of devotional service by giving himself to them. The devotees of Lord sees the Lord eye to eye by his causeless mercy. Thus the Lord helps his devotees reach the supermost spiritual planet Goloka Vrindavan. Being the creator, he can bestow all necessary qualifications upon his devotees so that they can ultimately reach him. The Lord is the cause of all causes. In other words, since there is nothing that caused him, he is the original cause. Consequently, he enjoys his own self by manifesting his own internal potency. The external potency is not exactly manifested by him, for he expands himself as the Purusha, and it is in this form that he maintains the features of material manifestation. By such expansion, he creates, maintains, and annihilates the cosmic manifestation. Hare
Okay,
Krishna Maharaj.
thank you. So a little technical descriptions here. We're told about the Lord, how he is relating first of all with his devotees, that nothing caused him, he is the cause of everything, and he enjoys his own self, and he manifests by manifesting his own internal potency, the Lord's internal potency. We're hearing about the spiritual world, the Lord's internal potency. The Lord is there with all of his devotees, the very special, pure devotees who are constantly with the Lord. And his own dham, his own abode, is all his internal potency. It's not different from him, right? Goloka and the spiritual world, all the cows, all the paraphernalia, everything is all his own internal potency. Srimati Radharani and the gopis are all expansions from Srimati Radharani. All of these different things, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, And Vasudeva and Devaki, they're all the Lord's internal potency, right? That's the spiritual world. But then you've got the external potency. And Prabhupada said this expands from, not exactly from the Lord himself, but from the Purushas, meaning from, who are the Purushas?
Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu.
Right. So, in these features, you've got the universes come out of Mahavishnu or Karanadakashayi Vishnu, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
And then what happens after the universes come out from Karanadakshayi Vishnu?
From each universe, the expansion of Garbhodakshay, each universe has one Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshay Vishnu's navel, one lotus comes out, and on that lotus, Brahmaji is there. And on the top of each universe, there is a Shweta Deep where Kshirodakshay Vishnu resides. And
Okay. Yes, very good. And Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, what does he do?
He is he is all pervading. He expands himself as a Paramatma in everyone and in each atom also.
Okay, yes, very good. Right? So by such expansions, the Lord expands like this. So a material world's going on. Material world means creation, maintenance, and annihilation. All right,
Yes,
go
Maharaj.
ahead. Someone read. Mataji or Prabhu either.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
The living entities are also differentiated expansions of the Lord self. And because some of them desire to be lords and imitate the Supreme Lord, he allows them to enter into the cosmic creation with the option to fully utilize their propensity to lord it over nature. Because of the presence of his parts and parcels, the living entities, the entire phenomenal world is stirred into action and reaction. Thus, the living entities are given full facilities to lord it over material nature. But the ultimate controller is the Lord Himself in His plenary feature as Paramatma, the super soul, who is one of the Purushas. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay. So the ultimate controller is the Lord Himself. The Lord.
Yes, Maharaj.
Right? In which form? Is He there? The Lord Himself. He's
The super
ultimate
soul.
as a super soul, right? He's one of the Purushas. And the living entities come into the material world. He has a desire to lord it.
Lord it over material nature.
Right, trying to exploit the resources, right?
Yes.
So the Lord facilitates, right? He wants the living entity to have this opportunity,
Yes.
right?
Yes, Maharaj.
So is this good for the living entity to do that?
No.
What's going to happen?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
The living entity is given full facility to lord over material nature. Does it mean we become God?
Yes, Maharaj.
We become God, huh?
We become entangled, Maharaj.
Sorry, as marriage, I'm really sorry. I think it is breaking for me. That's why I'm unable to hear your voice.
Okay. Anyway, living
Hare
entity
Krishna.
come into the material world is trying to enjoy.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
Is he going to be successful?
No, Maharaj, because this world is, dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. So we cannot be happy in the material world.
Okay. So what will happen?
Um, so ultimately, he'll be like start thinking he'll jignasu, like he'll start realizing like who is he, and what is the relation with the Lord, start realizing, and what is the ultimate happiness, where we
Okay,
can get that happiness.
okay, thank you. Well, go ahead. Prabhu can read.
But Maharaj,
Yes, yes.
Maharaj, for a devotee, what is the difference between material world and spiritual world? A devotee always always he is connected with Lord. So wherever he is located, does it make really difference? I'm talking
No,
about devotee.
no. If you're the pure devotee, there's no difference. If you're a pure devotee, you can be anywhere. Doesn't matter.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Thank
Dandavat
you.
Pranam.
Dhanabad pranams.
Thus, there is a gulf difference between the living entity Atma and controlling
Hare Krishna, what happened?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thus, 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 there is a gulf of difference between the living entity and the controlling Lord Paramatma, the soul and the super soul. Paramatma is a controller and Atma is controlled. Therefore, there are different categories. Because the Paramatma fully cooperates with the Atma, he is known as a constant companion of the living being. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, can you tell me more about the relationship between Atma and Paramatma?
Maharaj, it is like there is a one is bird in the heart, which is eating the fruit, and another one is watching it. So Atma and Paramatma is together always.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, Paramatma is Vibhu and we are Anu. We are minute.
Yes. So?
So our constitutional position is to serve the rendering the service to the super soul.
So what does the super soul do? Does the super soul just sits there and takes service?
No, he protects and he oversees the Atma, whatever the activities is doing, supersees.
Right, he's the overseer.
Overseer.
Upadrasta, Upadrasta and
Upadrashta, Mantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara.
Upadrasta and Anumanta, the overseer and the permitter.
Permitter, yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Also, 15:15, Bhagavad-Gita 15:15 says, what's the super soul? Yes, from him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Go ahead. Go ahead, let's have somebody read.
Hare Krishna
Prabhu?
Maharaj.
Yes, please
Hare
read.
Krishna Maharaj.
Read, please read.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The
Hare.
all pervading features of the Lord which exist in the circumstances of waking and sleeping, as well as a potential state, and from the Jiva's Shakti, living force, is generated as both conditioned and the liberated souls, is known as Brahman. Since the Lord is origin of both Paramatma and Brahman, he is the origin of all living entities and all else that exist. One who knows this engages himself at once in the devotional service of the Lord. Such a pure and fully cognizant devotee of the Lord is fully attached to him in the heart and the soul. And whenever such a devotee assembles with the similar devotees, they have no engagement but the glorification of the Lord's transcendental activities. Those who are not perfect as the pure devotee, namely those who have realized only the Brahman or Paramatma features for the Lord, Paramatma features of the Lord, cannot appreciate the activities of the perfect devotees. The Lord always helps the pure devotee by imparting necessary knowledge within their hearts, and thus, out of his special favor, he dissipates all the darkness of ignorance. The speculative philosophers and the yogis cannot imagine this because they more or less depends on their own strength. As stated in Katha Upanishad 1.2.23, the Lord can be known only those whom he favors, and not by anyone else. Such special favors are bestowed upon his pure devotees only. Sri Upanishad thus points to the favor of the Lord, which is beyond the purview of the Brahma Jyotir. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So this is very special. We see Prabhupada is describing how the activities of the devotees, they cannot be appreciated by the jnanis and the yogis. When they see the devotees chanting and dancing, when they see us taking so much trouble to dress the deities and to offer arti, they cannot understand all these activities. They think, oh, just we're wasting our time. So our activities are on a special level, which they cannot understand. And Prabhupada also explains that how the devotees get help from Krishna for everything which they do. We get a lot of blessing, we get a lot of mercy, that Krishna helps the devotees, that he's giving special favors, helping us to come out of ignorance. He's helping us in many different situations. But the yogis, their process, and the jnanis, their process is they do everything by their own effort, right? Their process is like going up, pulling up, climb up the rope. It's very slow, it's a lot of trouble, labor to go up the rope. But our process is coming down. Everything is coming down. The Lord is giving, He's helping, providing. So it's much easier to go down than to come up. The jnanis and yogis, they have so much trouble, labor to go up. But the devotees, we get the mercy of the Lord coming down. It's all given to us by the grace of the Lord. We just have to be surrendered to receive the mercy of the Lord. And Prabhupada then quotes Katha Upanishad, the Lord can be known only by those whom He favors, not by anybody else. So Krishna Himself picks His devotees. Those people who are like the jnanis and yogis, they're not picked by Krishna. They don't get the favor of the Lord. So this is an important point to understand the special mercy of the Lord, but how it comes on the devotees, right? I quoted that verse from Bhagavad-Gita. Lord said, I'm equal to everybody, but He has special favor for His devotees. So when the devotees come together, we have our special activities, devotional service, which these other people, they cannot understand. So are there any questions on this?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, the last sloka 15, that's I'm not very clear on the concept of Hiranmaya Patrena. I'm not very clear about that.
Haranmaya Patrena means to remove the covering. To remove the covering. Yeah, because the Lord is covered by this effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti. So we want to get through that covering to see to see the form of the Lord, to see the face of the Lord. So the prayer is to remove that covering of the Lord. We don't want to just be in the covering, in the light, in that bright light. You can't see anything but the light. There's only the light everywhere. We want to go through that to see the actual form of the Lord, the face of the Lord, the features of the Lord. So the jnanis, the yogis, they're thinking the light, that's the goal. It's not the goal. But they're on the way. I told the last time the Guru was chanting and she said, Swamiji, when I chant, I see a bright light. Prabhupada said, keep chanting, it will go away.
Yes, last class you said that.
Huh?
Yeah, in last class you said that Prabhupada that give that example.
Yeah.
The more you chant, more this light will go.
Yeah.
So
We're
this
not,
light basically effulgence of Lord.
we're not interested in this light, this effulgence. It's nothing for us. We just go through it.
But Jnani and mystic yogis, they are looking for this light.
Yes, that's right. They're thinking that's the goal. For them, that is the goal. They think liberation is the goal, but for devotee, liberation is not the goal. We're not worried
We are
about
not interested for liberation.
it. Right. Devotional service begins on the liberated platform.
Very well. Thank you, Maharaj.
Any other questions? We can see, Prabhupada said, the all-pervading feature of the Lord, which exists. What is this all-pervading feature of the Lord?
Paramatma?
No, in this case, it's not the Paramatma. In this case, what's being talked about is the Brahman, right? From which the Jiva Shakti is generated as both conditioned and liberated souls, is known as Brahman. Waking, the Jiva Shakti is generated, the living force. So the living entity, so this means he is the origin. Brahman is the origin of all living entities and all else that exists. Those who know this engage at once in devotional service of the Lord. He is the origin of all living entities. So devotees are attached to the Lord. So we engage in glorifying Him. Spiritual activities, glorifying the Lord, chanting His name, worshipping His deity form, speaking about the Lord's pastimes and potencies and energies and everything, offering prayers to Him. This is the business of devotees. But those who are not perfect, not pure devotees, they've only understood the Brahman or the Paramatma. They cannot understand what we're doing. So we have to create faith in them. You want to preach to these people, you have to create faith in them. You create faith. Sometimes prasadam, very good preaching. Give them nice prasadam, you'll convince them. Because these people, they don't have nice prasadam. They have dry philosophy and dry prasadam. We give them some nice nectar, you can attract them to Krishna consciousness. So preaching to these people, Mayavadis and Gyanis and Yogis, you can attract them with nice prasadam. Prasadam is very important. Nice prasadam, nice kirtan, very powerful, can convince them. Philosophy is difficult. To talk philosophy with them, very difficult, but give them nice prasadam, you can convince them. Okay, so we will finish on Friday. We have 2 more classes to go and two mantras left. We will finish up on Friday. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jaya.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.